stuff on stream just to build up. Okay, because that's what somebody said when I was doing Twitch. They were like, "Oh, you shouldn't just jump into a game. You should like let people get into your stream first." And then he starts playing. Yeah, because it's like a waste of, I guess, content if you're just getting right into it and there aren't that many people there. But one sec, I'm gonna go grab a tea. But we can like continue talking about this shit after because I'm totally okay being transparent about this shit, especially because it's the audience that matters. So, one sec. Oh, you shouldn't hold tab, Ellie. Ellie. What? Ellie, that's fucking bad. You shouldn't hold tab. It's pause. I'm gonna turn off your internet because apparently games don't fucking matter that much to you. It's all tab, so I'm gonna turn off your internet. You fucker. I'm gonna go to the bathroom right now and turn off the internet.
Jenkins is on a rampage right now. On such a rampage right now.
That's not true. That's not true, Ellie. It is. I see it. It's red. You cannot see my prolapsed anus. There's boiling water there, by the way. Gotta get your own fucking tea, lazy bitch. Oh my god. My boyfriend won't even tea me. What is your boyfriend? How do I get out of real life? Yikes. I'm a man for it. Real life games, yikes. Get me out. Get me out. I'm gonna shoot myself because I want out. Yikes. What up?
God. The way that you say yikes makes me want to shoot myself.
Yo, yikes, dude. Get me out, dog. This fucking game is lit. I'm gonna fucking dome you.
Are you trying to be Sammy Boy right now?
You know, I actually spoke with. Oh, he spoke with me the other day. He messaged me on. He messaged me on Steam, just wanting to chat, just wanting to be friends again. Dude, you know what? I don't see old him doing that. So if he's changing and isn't gonna hold grudges and all of these things that. Good for him. That's great. Like maybe he's just growing up. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I'm totally fine with people having some toxic tendencies and just just making themselves better.
You and I have both definitely been super toxic in the past.
Yes, I mean, dude, even to each other, man. We've said some shit to each other. We've been fucking yikes toxic as fuck, dude. That shit's not lit.
Oh my god.
You're being toxic to me right now.
People who say the word lit are toxic in general.
Yeah, they can like go light themselves with a gun.
They can go
head.
Get lit.
Okay.
Lit themselves up with some litty litness.
With some lead in the head.
All right, let's not encourage that.
Well, I got my gun license, so I can talk about this stuff. I'm well informed. Hello, Reverence. That huge forehead. Which one of us are you referring to?
I've got like a 4.5 head.
I have a big forehead. I've always had a huge forehead. That's just. I used to be very insecure as a child about having a large head because my forehead was so huge. I would wear sweaters all the time because they were large, and I felt like they made my body look larger. And then it wouldn't look like I have such a huge forehead. But it didn't work. Then I was the weird kid that was wearing fucking sweaters everywhere in like the middle of summer. It didn't help also that I was like, shitting on other people's binders and stuff like that, and grabbing people's asses and stuff in class.
It's not.
And eating worms.
You definitely would have been. Kids who ate caterpillars and stuff just to see how they taste. 100%.
I did do that. I did do that actually. If people paid me, I would eat almost anything. I mean, I'd probably still eat almost anything
Yeah.
for money. Hi, Joshua. What's going on today with me? Actually, glad you asked. I just played a scrim with. I stood in for a team, and we played against a pretty legit squad actually, like a real team of like top 100 players, and we got destroyed in the first game, but then we actually won the second one, and I'm very proud of myself because I was playing Doombringer, and I had a lot of control of the game. I felt like I had a lot of control of the game. I knew what I was doing, and it translated from pubs into like a competitive environment. So that felt pretty good. And then before that, I did a coaching session. What'd you do today, Donnie?
I got up, I worked on Dota Alchemy stuff and posted videos and worked on videos this morning, and then I went to work, my other
Hell
job, and then I worked on more videos and more social media stuff, and then I came home and I lay down on the ground with my 2 dogs for 45 minutes, played 1 Dota game, and now I'm here.
That sounds like a good day.
Been pretty good, feel pretty productive.
I want to go lay with my dog, man. I'm going to go walk my dog after this. That's what I'm going to do. Ellie, you want to walk Guinness after? She said she'll walk my bitch. She shouldn't call my dog that. That's rude.
That is rude.
Yeah, I'm done talking to you, Ellie. Sorry about that, guys. Ellie, there's a reason my door's closed.
You need to like put a sock on the doorknob or something.
I do, just so she stops talking to me. Like, I don't know. She thinks because we're like soulmates or whatever, she just has free reign. But it's like, Ellie, you're not. Listen, okay. Imagine that there's like a large metal door between us, and you can't hear me. It doesn't matter if you can hear me because I don't care. Anyway.
Anyway.
She's laughing or crying. I can't tell. One or the other.
Yeah, it sounds basically the same, right?
Yeah, well, you know, with women, right?
Yikes.
Something like that could actually be taken out of fucking context in the Dota 2 world.
I'm sure somebody would post it on Reddit and be like, Jenkins is a misogynistic piece of garbage.
I remember BSJ said something. What he said? He said, "I'm not racist. I just don't like black people." And it's like I was fucking laughing at that. It's like it's such a tame joke, but in like the Dota spectrum, oh God, you have to be careful saying something like that, especially after the geez, I can't even say it. The cuckoo madness. You have to be so careful. Even though that's like, well, the cuckoo shit I think that was justified. But I think that made people way more sensitive to actual like jokes. I don't know how you feel about that, but
sorry, I was reading chat. I wasn't listening to you at all.
Okay. Well, that's it's just something that I'm very used to actually. Well, you usually just don't understand the high level stuff that I'm talking about because you're just a fucking ancient pleb.
Yep. Not for long though. I have percentage under my medal now, so I'm on the
nice.
climb.
That's good. Oh, you fell under. So you calibrated and then you fell so low that you didn't even get percentages.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Don't sell your bobs and vagina here, please. See, here's the fucking thing, man. Even something like harmless and funny like that in the Dota world could be taken out of context by certain people, not by anybody who matters, but by really angry vocal people.
Yep.
That's usually how it is. The like vocal minority that just screams about being offended by
dude, things. I actually had a great realization about that today because so my other job is with this like they manufacture like sewing accessories and so I've been making like instructional videos with some of their instructors on like how to make various like quilting patterns.
Yeah.
And so yesterday I uploaded a video of one of the quilting patterns. And today, the only comment on the video on the YouTube channel was, "What is this?" Like, it was just like so incredibly angry. Like, why are you not showing this, and this? This is absolutely unhelpful. And then all caps, thumbs down. It was the only thumbs down on the entire video with like several hundred views. And I was
quilting
just like,
patterns.
I was like, if people are gonna get this riled up about fucking a quilting video, there is no hope for ever having positivity on YouTube comments.
It's true. It's true. It's something on the internet with the internet makes people just go absolute visceral mode for
Yeah,
whatever reason.
it's so weird.
With the slightest push, it just all comes out.
It's kind of just like when you're on the internet and you have the ability to interact with a human being, it's kind of like you're just really wasted. Because you just don't have any filter. You have no empathy for the other person because there's no emotional response. So it's just like you're
Right,
just
it's
gonna
hard
say
to have
whatever you
empathy.
fucking feel at that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had that where I'm really angry at somebody in a game of Dota, and then it clicks with me that they're a person actually behind a computer reading that with the life, and they have to go get groceries and
Yeah, it's super weird.
do their laundry and all of these things that I have to do, and then it's just like, oh man, what am I doing? What are they? What are we both doing? Like, what are we all doing? You know?
Agreed. All right, well let's get into the episode. How about
Okay.
that?
Yeah.
So yeah, let's do this. Welcome to Alchemy Answers, episode 28, everybody. Thank you for joining us yet again. And I think this is going to be a good episode. We've got some good questions in chat. And if you want your questions legitimately answered every single week, be sure to check out Patreon, www.patreon.com/Dota Alchemy, and we will absolutely get to your questions every week. You also have access to us in a private channel in the Discord where you can ask questions and talk to us as well. So, yeah, if that sounds interesting to you, feel free to support us. We'd absolutely appreciate it. If not, we still love you guys for tuning in, and we'll probably get to some of your questions in chat as well.
Can you take a wild guess who our first question is from there, Donnie? If you just had to guess one of our beloved Patreon fans and
Yes,
followers.
Hawkillionaire.
You are correct. It is Hawkillionaire. It is Kuroki himself. So he says, as a position 5 player, is it good to block the enemy hard camp to prevent the offlaners from pulling? If so, please explain why, and then also use specific examples of lineups and times it would be good to do this against. Number one, Hawkillionaire, I gotta say, when you ask for specifics, it makes the question so much more difficult because it's like, there's so many scenarios.
Also,
so many of them.
I feel like he's a teacher and he's assigning me a fucking paper to write. It's like his questions are so in depth. Like, please be specific. Provide sources. There have to be at least 3 primary sources. You're not allowed to use Wikipedia. You have to get scientific journals to back up your claims.
Dude, it's because
man.
Hawkillionaire is Kuroki and he's looking for the next Matumba man. He's looking for the next miracle.
Okay.
And he thinks, okay, it could be these guys. Let's see. Do they know the timing to pull this thing? Oh, no, they don't. It's fucking idiots. I gave them such a specific question. Okay, so I guess I'll get started on this one. So as a position 5 player, I would say that a decent amount of the time, I would say like probably about 30-40% of the time, you can consider sentry blocking the hard camp. That is something that you would want to do if the enemy team has a hero that wants to pull the lane, like if that's really important for their game plan. So, for example, if there's like a coddle on the enemy team, he wants to push pull, and he doesn't really have that much kill threat until he gets some levels from doing that. My camera is just blinking black for whatever reason, but in any case, I would say that that's when it's acceptable. But basically, you just have to use your best judgment. And if it's really integral to the enemy team's game plan, then you do it. But I would say for most cases in the off lane, like that's not going to really screw over offlaners that much because they could just cut the wave, they could dive you under tower. There's a lot that lanes can do against you if you block that pull. It might be better. You might be better off in a lot of cases just warding to scout the pull and then going over to contest it. As an offlaner, that's something that I personally do.
I would do that too as a support.
I like that. I really like that as an option for both sides too. Just because it just gives you the information, and then with the information you can make an informed decision. And if a camp is blocked, it's really easy to deward. They just send out a sentry, and it's gonna be unblocked, and that's why you would sentry block it. But if you're sentry blocking it, that's gonna cost you extra money at the start, and that's why it would have to be very important to the game plan of the enemy team. So I'd say probably I said 40%, but that's probably too high. That's probably too high, honestly, because you don't have the gold for it. So I'd say like 10-20% of the time you can try it if you think that it's important to the offlaner's game plan.
Yeah, I think that I also really there's really good wards that you can place to do exactly what you were just talking about. Like, it'll give you sort of a protecting award against a potential rotation of a second support into the lane. It'll also scout the bounty rune. There's like really a couple really good wards that you can place on both sides for that. I think the only times that I ever really block it as somebody who plays a lot of support is if I'm against a Doom. I don't want them to take I want them to have to walk all the way back to their jungle to get a big creep.
And or Enchantress as well. That's another one.
Enchantress, Chen, and Elder Titan are the only ones that I'd really consider blocking.
Elder Titan, yeah, that's a really good one too.
Or maybe somebody who is going to be able to shove the wave under my tower and then like
Coddle.
Yeah, I was just thinking somebody that would also farm that camp as well, like pressure me and also farm it. So potentially something like against a really good Bristleback or Axe player maybe, but most of the time they're not going to be able to do it. So mostly just like the Doom, the Elder Titan, that kind of stuff is block it.
Yeah, I think so. It is good against Doom though, and Doom's like a really hot pick right now. So if you do that against Doom, like you're gonna have a good win rate against that hero because a lot of people use that camp. Like they won't walk back and get the hard camp.
Yeah, they'll just be stuck devouring lane creeps or like they'll have to take some shitty like small camp creep.
And if they don't have like a satyr or something like that, they're a lot weaker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, all of the creeps except for the troll net is good. The troll net sucks dick, but still, if they eat the troll net, they can get the next spawn of creeps, and that's still going to be good. Okay. So Souls was actually just responding to Hockey Legionaire's question, which doesn't surprise me. Oh man, I was coaching Souls the other day, and half the time he's telling me these things. He's telling me like these things that he tried something in a lobby or he learned something. Like I feel like he was coaching me half the time. Oh shit, I didn't know that worked. He's one of those like really like information based guys where he knows all of these little tidbits of information about the game. And then doesn't execute them, but he knows a lot. He knows a lot about the game, so he's just telling Hockey Legionnaire. Okay, Reformer. Tips on racing conduct score. I wish we had Henry for this.
Yeah.
One abandoned due to weather, and I lose nearly 2K points in it. I know Henry spams turbo mode to get out of low behavior score because all of the games you get commends for them after them. They end really quickly. I'm sure just like naturally not getting reports and playing games probably raises your behavior score as well. That's basically a turbo mode.
Yeah, I would say that.
Well, behave well. That's also a start.
Yeah, obviously that's the main start is don't be a dickhead. But I think that proportionally speaking, supports get commended more if you play a good support. And also, you should definitely just commend your whole team after every game if you win, because there's a very good chance that you'll get commends back for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. There's a lot of games where I'll have no commends and I'll just commend my whole team, and then I'll see like a flurry of them happen.
People usually just forget about it. Like you win a game of Dota, you're on to the next one. But if you get commends, you're usually like, oh, well, yeah, sure, why not? They did pretty well this game.
Yep. Okay, well, next question. This is actually one you posted in here, Donnie. Probably, I think you got it from probably Patreon.
Yeah, it was a DM from our patrons.
Dat Xeet. I have no idea how to pronounce a word that starts with X. Maybe somebody in chat can inform me. He says, what can I do when I'm hard countered in game, e.g. Skywrath versus Pugna? Sky feels very ineffective doing anything other than pickoffs and team fights where Pugna will be present, and he is essentially hard countered by a single well-placed ward. 2.7k MMR.
I want to listen. I want to answer this one first and tell me what you think.
Sure.
So this has sort of been my approach if I come up with this situation. Number one, I ask myself, is my hero really good against any of the heroes on their team? So, for example, I mean, sure, a Pugna definitely counters Skywrath, but at the same time, you're pretty good against Pugna to some extent just because he's very vulnerable to magic damage, but there might also be some other hero that you're really, really good against, or super good on your team that you're really good with, like an Axe or a Legion Commander. And if the answer is yes, if there is a hero that you're really, really good against on the other team, or a hero that you're really good with on your team, then you can kind of just play the game normally, but itemize more defensively. But if you're in a game where you picked a hero first, maybe, and then you got like hard countered by 3 or 4 heroes, and so you're actually having like the shittiest game ever if you play it normally, then you kind of just have to play the hero in a completely different way. And that might involve literally buying like medallion, Vlads, and a pipe on Skyrath Mage, and just like being an aura carrier or like super utility, going just like Atos, not really casting your spells, playing it as sort of just like an annoyance as opposed to a damage dealer. That's like pretty much the only way you can deal with being hard countered by the entire game.
Yep, that's that would be my answer exactly, and that makes sense because I think we've both discussed this topic in the past, and we both kind of agree on this wholeheartedly. So yeah, that would also be my exact answer. I would say like also
I would also mute your whole team because you're gonna have a really terrible game, and they're gonna blame you for every bad fight. But it's literally a game where you can't do anything, and so you need to mute your whole team because you're also gonna buy some weird fucking items for your hero because like
you're gonna get flamed.
Yeah, you're gonna get flamed for sure.
Yeah, I would say also skill. You can skill differently too. Like on Skywrath, Pugna counters you if you're a damage dealer, if you're putting out the arcane bolts. But if you max concussive shot, then you're using that from out of range of the Nether Ward. And then if you max your silence after that, you're not really costing that much mana. You're not a damage dealer. You're a disabler. You're an initiator. So you just play it differently than what the optimal way to play it is on the current patch, simply because it is no longer optimal versus a Pugna.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like for example, just to give a really specific example besides that one, if you are a strength-based hero and let's say you're like I don't know, like a Sven, you're playing against a lifestealer, there's a very good chance that unless you are extremely far ahead, if you go for just like a lot of strength-based items, you're actually going to make the lifestealer stronger against you. So it's much better to go for like AC and just like armor, tons of attack speed, and like a basher or something like that, which is not something you would normally see on a Sven.
Yep. Why play into the enemy's game? Like they
Exactly.
picked a hero for a reason. They picked it for the reason. Don't give them exactly what they want. That's just super game losing.
Yeah. It's
okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. You can if you want to finish out with the thought.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's kind of like when you see somebody like in the professional scene cutting the creep wave as an offlaner. It's usually because the offlaner was picked before the safe lane hero. The safe lane hero is generally picked to counter the offlaner to have a good game. The offlaner says, I don't want to play your game in a static lane. I'm just going to go cut the creep wave and force you into this weird scenario. It's kind of the same thing. Yep.
I love doing that. There's no way to win or to lose the offlane if you play like that.
Yep.
Okay. So Bungle No More says, when you got Yulesed, can you shift Q your own Yules on yourself to avoid getting stunned or dodge SF's ult? Also, is this tactic beneficial? I don't think you can shift Q out of somebody else's Yules.
I tested it. You can't shift Q out. You just have to spam it.
I would say in general, if you're trying to time things exactly with shift with the Yule Scepter or anything for that matter, you shouldn't be shift queuing, because the problem with shift queuing is that there's a backswing to almost everything in Dota. Don't ask me why, but there is. And the backswing is literally useless and it can be canceled. But if you shift queue, it waits for the backswing to end before doing the next action. So Lina is always the very easy example that I use. But if you shift queue all of Lina's abilities after her stun, it is the slowest fucking thing you'll ever witness. It's like watching paint dry. It's like watching every Harry Potter movie ever made. You know, you're just like, when will this end? When will Harry just die? Come on, like Snape kills Dumbledore and Harry's not dead yet. What's going on? But in any case, if you don't shift queue it, she's like fucking blowing people up. It's like, holy shit, I'm dead. I got vaporized.
Yeah. But you literally go from being
Krillin
to fucking like Vegeta or Goku.
Hey man, what do you got about just because he's bald? Are you serious?
He just sucks.
What's wrong with Krillin?
He's a fucking human in a world of
exactly.
Saiyans, dude.
He's the fucking guy that we're all supposed to relate to. Just because you have the fucking Goku hair, Donnie, and that's because he's the character you relate to. I relate to Krillin because he's the fucking virgin little nerd guy who's like, oh, what am I doing here with all these powerful guys swinging their Dragon Balls around? I'm fucking Krillin. Like, this is crazy. But I still like being there and being around and having a good time with my Dragon Balls out and other guys touching my ball, going for my Dragon Balls. You know, just because you're fucking Goku. Come on.
Not Goku, dude.
God, my heart's racing, man. You just got my heart racing talking about fucking Goku and Krillin.
I mean, let's be okay. Krillin is actually a bad example because Krillin's actually a badass. He's like he kills people and like does some really cool shit, and he gets one of the the only girls in that show. So, how about like Yamcha? Yamcha's like the fucking. He's supposed to be like the pretty boy human who's like all cool. And does he's actually like the most useless character.
He's just a shittier Goku. He's just a way shittier Goku.
The human version of Goku.
Yeah, exactly. He's shit and trash. Yeah, no, I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
I think he was actually probably the least cool character in it.
I don't know, dude. Majin Buu is pretty fucking dumb.
Yeah,
but he was a villain.
But he was a villain.
That's passable that the villains are like wacky.
Yeah, exactly.
He's pretty dumb though.
First people in chocolate, pretty dumb.
Yeah, that's pretty stupid. They're like, oh fuck, the kids are gonna love this one. they're gonna think this is so great. They're gonna all be trying to eat each other and shit.
Yeah,
he looks like a big piece of just bubble gum that somebody's chewed already.
That's why you stop watching. You stopped watching Dragon Ball Z after the Cell Saga because that was some pretty intense stuff.
It was pretty intense, man. There's people getting sucked up by his little cock coming out of his ass, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, especially Android 18. Come on. Speaking of Krillin.
Yeah. Speaking.
She comes back though, right? She's good. She comes back.
I mean, they kill Cell and everybody comes back.
God. What if they just didn't kill Cell? Just his girlfriend's just gone forever.
I mean, Krillin's gone too. The Earth is gone if they don't kill Cell.
Oh, I guess that's true. That's always the risk, isn't it? There's tons of planets in DBZ. They don't need the Earth. Anyway,
go live on Namek.
let's I don't know how we ended up talking about this at this point. Honestly, let's it just ends up at this point. Okay. Sir Snipes a lot with a 1 in the Sir says, what is your opinion on Mid Alchemist in this meta? I have suddenly been playing with and against the hero a lot recently. I was wondering your thoughts on Alchemist right now and if he is a viable mid hero that suddenly everybody is playing.
Alchemist?
Yeah.
And I'm not a mid player. I
think he's great.
I believe he's probably good because he generates gold out of nothing.
Yeah,
which is like super overpowered in theory.
Yeah, I think Alka is one of the best mids right now. He's really good last pick. Even like a second to last pick hero, where you have one hero on your team that is uncountered, and you want to force the enemy team to like either counter the Alk or counter that hero. I think Alka is really good. Like if you have another kind of cancer hero on your team that's a win condition, and then picking Alk as a secondary win condition is really nice.
I bet he's really good with like the radiance into like the blink kind of shadow blade, like I don't know shadow, but like the really aggressive Alk build, not the like Octarine core Manta.
Yeah, that's what people are doing. That people are like basically okay. So basically, the reason that I think Alk is really good right now is because you used to be able to get enough net worth early on into the game to deal with him and run into his jungle and kill him before he gets radiance. But now everybody farms so slowly, and Alk gets the radiance at the same time, and honestly faster, depending on the stacks that people are now making. Like a lot of people are stacking the tri-camps for Alk.
Yep.
But basically, Alk gets a radiance faster than a lot of heroes can even run into the jungle and deal with them. So he can literally just be a guaranteed win in a game. It's honestly really bullshit.
He's kind of like Broodmother in a way now.
Yeah, he's exactly like Broodmother. It's really hard to deal with the last pick Alchemist. Borderline impossible if the Alk is good. So I think it's good. Okay. Bungle No More says, question, as offlane Lycan going Helm/Necrobook, should you ever show up to planned fights or do you keep pushing all the time? Also, should you swap lanes to push tier 1s or keep pushing the offlane? These are really good questions. These are high-level questions. I commend you for asking these because these are just really good questions, and if you're asking questions like this, you're gonna improve a lot because these are good questions. Anyway, so yes, I would say you do want to show up to fights around your ultimate. If you don't have the ultimate, you basically never show up to fights. The way that I personally like to play offlane Lycan, and I kind of copied this from other people. It's pretty obvious. You just you look to like gank near a tower with your ulti, take the tower, and around not having the ulti, you just split push lanes and farm the jungle near. So basically, you farm the jungle nearby and put your units in lanes. If you don't see people on the map, if you do see people on the map, you can push the lane with your heroes and with your hero and your creeps. And then with the ulti, you want to show up to fights. And I would say in general, with the tier 1 or pushing the offlane question, what I like to do right now is I do this on Leshrac. Take the tier 1 and then go and see if you can get a gank mid and take the tier 1 mid. But just test the waters. Take a little dip in the waters and see how it feels. And if it doesn't feel like you can really do anything there, then just head back up to the top lane. That's kind of a pretty nice way that you could do it. A lot of the time you'll be able to take it, but sometimes the whole enemy team will TP to defend it, and then you can just make your way back to the top lane. It's not a huge commitment to do that. There's also the option of going to the safe lane and having your carry take the off lane and then just pressuring the safe lane tower and more importantly, defending your safe lane tower. But that's only something you can do, of course, if you still have that safe lane tower available. And just use your best judgment. Basically, it's never going to be bad to pressure a tower. Like as long as you're doing something for a purpose, for a reason, it's good. Where it's like, okay, I want to be in this area to pressure this tower. Okay, this is not feeling that great. I'm going to go somewhere else. You can just adjust as the game goes on.
Yeah, I would definitely go watch 33 play Lycan, and I would watch Arteezy play Lycan. I think those are two of the best Lycans in the world right now. And whether you play him in the safe lane or the off lane, he plays the same way, like for the majority of the game. Post laning stage, you're going to play exactly the same way. Everything that Jenkins just described. But yeah, those are probably the two people that I would go watch play Lycan because I think they play at a higher level than other people.
He's a good hero, man. He's underrated, I think. I don't know if he's underrated. He's in a weird spot. He's getting picked up like enough, but not enough. Right. I guess it's like he's probably one of the best heroes in Dota right now. I think.
He's also just like a fucking cool hero. He's one of those heroes that plays Dota in a way that's completely different than the game.
Yeah. Itemization too. I've always loved the fact every time I make a goddamn Lycan video, I always say like, this hero is fucking amazing because you build utility items that just because of how spells work, they also function as damage items. Like that is innately broken, that you get just a 2-for-1 deal with Lycan.
Yep.
Like you don't build like a Dagon on Nyx and it's like, oh, thank God this works so well with his other abilities. Like this is a utility item. No, that's a damage item. You build Deso on PA, it's a fucking damage item. You build Dominator on PA, it's just a utility item. It doesn't give you any damage. But on Lycan, you build a Dom, it's utility, and you buff all of your units, so it's damage as well.
Yep.
You get a Necro, Lycan buffs all his units, it's damage. It's not just for pushing. It's not just for the utility of a Necro book. It does so much damage. He's a carry. He's a carry and an offlaner at the same time. Not okay.
Yep. Agreed.
Broken. Okay.
That's why Sven was so good, because you didn't have to build anything but utility. He already does enough damage, like back when he was being played in the offlane all the time.
Yeah, like the Vlad's build.
Yep.
Vlad's blink sort of thing. And you just did damage anyway with that build.
Exactly.
You just okay, so Souls asks opinions on Force Staff plus Ether Lens versus Yules on Techies, as well as XP talent versus Mind CS talent. Oh my God, Souls, why you gotta ask about Techies, man?
Yeah,
like,
where's Robot Vice? Who even plays that hero?
I don't know, dude. Oh God.
I actually have no opinion. I've played 3 games of Techies in my life.
It's hard, dude.
I'm doing. That's why I like really am scared about that goal on Patreon. Because
we're not getting there.
We decided that I would play the Techies and you'd play Pudge. Play Pudge.
It's true. God, that would be such a disaster. We're well off. We're never hitting that goal. We're good. Don't worry. Probably. What's the $10 million goal? Oh yeah, $10 million. We'll take your useless and unwanted metals and turn them into precious gold.
We'll actually perform transmutation for that.
Oh my God, like actually be alchemists.
Yeah.
Dude, what is this? Do you see on the Patreon? There's like a picture of a dude.
What?
Okay. there's a picture of a dude in the coaching replay that I uploaded. It's just a picture of a dude, and then you click it. It's like, sorry, an error occurred with this video. It's like, yeah, you're putting it like some picture of some like 1600s guy as the thumbnail in my Dota video. What the fuck's going on with YouTube? Sorry, I mean that's totally irrelevant to what's happening right now. But anyway, back to your techies question. I think probably both would be fine. I think it just depends on how you want to play the hero. I think if you're playing the RoboVice style of techies, which is to play as a carry, then going for the XP talent is amazing, and you probably want to go for a Yules and just use that to defend yourself and to split push and to split farm. If you want to be more of like a group fighter, 4-staff plus Ether Lens is definitely going to be good. If you want to contribute to your team a little bit more earlier in the role of actually fighting. But I know that RoboVice, who is hands down the best techies on the planet, he goes for Yules and he goes for the XP talent.
Yeah, because he eventually he plays the hero. Like the hero's so good at defending that he can basically guarantee that he gets to 25 every game, and at that point, carry. So he actually can play to make it to late game all the time.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid when you think about it. The only reason it's like not stupid is because like, well, Techie sucks dick as a hero and always has. Maybe not anymore, but that's what your initial thought is at least. So it's like, all right, that's fine. But any hero, imagine if Spectre could make her own game last until late game. Like that hero would be the best hero in Dota.
Yeah.
So it's like techies can do really well in the late game and then make the game go there too. So pretty nuts when you really think about the concept outside of the context of what we already think about techies. So that's it for the Patreon questions. If you have any more and you're a Patreon subscriber, of course you can put them in there and we'll get to it. But we can take some questions from chat now.
Yeah.
So how long have we been going for now? There, D-Boy, Big D.
We've been answering questions for about 26 minutes.
Okay. So do you want to go to like 35 minutes or whatever? You said you wanted to keep the episodes a little bit shorter.
Yeah, we can go just like another 5, 6, 7 minutes, something like
that. Okay. All right. We'll start answering questions from chat. I believe I copy and pasted one. Oh, no, that's the money that I'm owed from tournaments. Okay.
Clovis Senpai. Hey, Jenkins Elevated. Been watching since Pugna folded. What are your guys' thoughts on Night Stalker? I think Blink Night Stalker is incredibly strong.
I think Night Stalker is good. I think with the new talent at 25 and the new ultimate, that hero is actually a beast in the late game. It's pretty nuts. The only thing that makes them balanced is that the day-night cycles are like 5 minutes long. So you have a lot of opportunities to fight around him not having nighttime. That's the only problem with Night Stalker. But the fact that his ult now gives flying vision during the night,
and
it's
free
busted.
Movement. Yeah,
it's busted. It's actually way too good. Like, but once again, he's absolutely broken during the night, but completely balanced and honestly terrible. He's like the most useless hero during the day.
Yeah.
Period. So I think the hero's in actually a pretty good spot.
I do too. I definitely think that, like, yeah, during the nighttime, he's probably the best hero in the game, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, he just gets so much free net worth in terms of like what he gains from Hunter in the Night and all of the skills getting better. I don't know. I feel like there's got to be some way to play him. Maybe you like have to rush a refresher on him or something like that because he's so tanky. He gets so much damage anyway. You almost don't even need to get other items. Just like, I don't know, something early game, whether it's like drums, like phase drums, KB, pressure, or something like that is probably reasonably good.
Probably. Yeah, a lot of people are going phase drums. And early BKB is like one of the most common things in this patch in pro games. Like every single hero. I mean, I'm even seeing supports go like second item BKB. It's pretty nuts.
Oh yeah, if you're playing a right click carry like a PA, Terrorblade, Sven, something like that, and you delay your BKB to like your third or fourth item, you're gonna lose.
It's too late at that point.
Yeah, you need to go like one early game item, one damage item, and then you can't go multiple.
How high is it possible to climb MMR with Pudge? Says Pranav Kumar. Is it possible? What?
Ask Cupid.
Oh, Cupid?
Yeah.
No, no, don't ask him. I would say it's not possible. Do not play Pudge. That fucking hero sucks. I've seen Cupid play Pudge. I've seen what's his face? Yoku play Pudge. Like these are the two best Pudge players in the world, and I've seen them play it in competitive, and it's awful. They feed. I've seen them play it in pubs, and half the time it's a fucking disaster. Like they could have mastered almost any other hero, like Earth Spirit or something, and they'd be doing way better. It's just Pudge needs buffs. Pudge needs buffs right now. To be completely frank with you, it's one of the worst heroes in Dota. Loda tweeted that Pudge is a broken hero. I think Loda doesn't play Dota at all anymore, so he doesn't know what he's talking about. I think he's playing like auto chess and shit because Pudge is not good. Like people feed if I pick that in pubs. They know it's me too, and they know they're like, oh, Jenkins Pudge, that's good. That guy's like a Pudge player, and they're like, Jenkins, do not pick Pudge. Jenkins, do not pick Pudge. I get fucking flamed all the time for picking Pudge. And people in NA have their name too. Pick Pudge, I feed. Like that's actually their names. And I'll still pick Pudge in games with them, and they won't feed because they'll think, oh, that's Jenkins. He's good at Pudge. He's known for it. And then I feed because it sucks. And then the next time they're like, please don't pick Pudge. So
there's a reason why the most popular hero ever in Dota is picked like 10% portal bracket. It's literally 40%, and all other brackets are higher, and it's fucking 10% bracket.
Yep.
You'll probably go up 500 MMR if you remove him from your hero pool.
Yes, actually, oh my god, dude! I've been looking at my like stats on DotaBot for the past few months, and it's like, okay, Nature's Prophet, 89% win rate. Leshrac, 62%. It's like, wow, this is fucking Pudge, 21% win rate. Weaver, 33% win rate. And it's like, shit, if I just stopped picking Pudge and Weaver, I would be 7K right now. Like, I would actually have won like 30 more games. Because I'm just losing horrendously with these heroes and winning a lot. I'm winning a lot with like Nature's Prophet. People keep getting really angry at me in games when I'm Nature's Prophet and like getting personal. So that kind of makes me feel like I'm pretty.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Because they're like so fucking mad on stream all the time, just so salty. I like exclusively split push on that hero. I don't show up to fight ever. It's a fuckery, man. It's good stuff though. It's good stuff. Okay. Let's see. There was a question up here. Somebody said, "Can you elaborate on what snowballing is?" Mayor Eslami. Oh, hey, what's up? What that's one of my beloved stream viewers.
Yeah, Mayor's a G. Good guy.
I would say snowballing is basically just like okay. The simple explanation of snowballing just means like you get very strong and stronger off of that strength and stronger off of that strength in like an exponential way, and then you win the game. That's snowballing. But my like is Jenkins like pseudoscientific explanation for snowballing is basically like if you can take a couple of advantages in the early game because of skill, and then you have a little bit more farm than the enemy team, you'll have a little bit more HP or whatever stats you choose to get from items. And a lot of the time, heroes cannot reasonably kill you with that advantage if you play well enough. And then you can use that to bait the enemy team to make more mistakes, and then more, and then more, and then more, and then more, and then you win. Like for example, that's why people on Gyrocopter, when that hero was originally popular, when it was just it wasn't just Gyro IO every game. It was just Gyro. The point of that hero was you get tanky enough so that people waste a bunch of shit on you, and then you turn around and pop all of your stuff and win the fight. So it wasn't about not losing HP and being tanky. It was about having just enough HP to turn at 100 HP and win the fight. So basically, snowballing is like the act of getting one extra item through outskilling to get to that 100 HP left threshold. When the enemy team uses their spells on you, you survive a fight where you shouldn't. That gets you more of a lead. Then you survive a fight that you shouldn't. That gets you more of a lead. And then all of a sudden the game is fucking over because you just can't play Dota against a hero that's taken that much of an advantage.
Yeah, it's actually really funny how Dota functions like that. Like, if you're really paying attention to what's going on in the game, you'll start noticing stuff like, oh shit, I missed like 5 creeps here, and it delayed my item that just didn't have in time for this fight or this gank, and so I died, and now I'm like way farther behind than I was, and now I can't actually show up for any fights for the next 15 minutes because I went from being able to actually control the tempo to being a victim of the tempo, and just like a couple of small actions like that.
Yeah. Yep. Dota's kind of crazy. That's why I think Necrophos is like a busted hero, because no matter what lead somebody gets on any hero, you can, like, it's a percentage thing. So all you need to do is get somebody below like 60%, and then you can kill them with Necro. Yep. So if somebody has that like snowballing happening where they have these extra items, and it's like, aha, I survived at 200 HP because I'm snowballing. It's like, well, fucking eat a Reaper Sight to the face then, buddy. Yeah. Like you can't actually be unkillable against a Necro. Right. And then obviously Heartstopper Aura works on percentage damage as well. So yeah, that's why that hero, like, no matter what, I never think that a Necro in the late game can lose. Like, you always have a chance with Necro, because you can always do that damage to get somebody below that threshold where it would normally be like, aha, I turned the fight on you. I'm low HP. It's like, well, you're fucking dead because I'm Necro. So thanks. Like, yeah, Necro doesn't need people to be at 100. He doesn't need to get people to 0 HP. He needs to get people to like 40%, and then he's good.
Yeah, it's a very rare game where you're not able to at least get the entire enemy team to half HP. Even if you're getting completely stomped, like, you should still be able to get them to about half HP.
The stats just like don't work that way in Dota. Yeah. You can't get enough stats fast enough that it's more so people will survive at like 30%. It's like, oh, what a disaster. I wish we could have, but it's like, well, because you gave them some items early game. So this is your doing that made them survive. Somebody survives at 10% HP in a fight. It's not because, wow, they played so well in that fight. It's more so because they had the farm and they had the items to do that in a fight because of stuff that happened earlier. And that's snowballing to me. That's honestly what snowballing is in Dota. I guess that's like a butterfly effect sort of thing, but it plays into snowballing.
Yep. Okay. I'll answer this personal question.
Sure.
Why not? Christoph Jeffers says, what is my favorite part of playing support? I like playing support because, well, there's a couple different reasons and a couple different mindsets. Number one, I like playing support because it gives me control over the vision game, which I think is absolutely terrible in, I would say, 99.9% of Dota games.
True.
And so I actually can make sure that we have enough wards, and I can make sure that I can, like, you can legitimately, if you're playing 5 and you don't have like 30 sentries bought in every single game, even against teams that don't have a bunch of invisible heroes, then you're not playing the position correctly. Because every single time that you push, every single time that you take an objective, you should be just scouring the area for vision, because the less vision that the other team has, the less comfortable they are leaving their base, which means the less farm that they get, which means that you guys just inherently get more farm by one person on your team basically saying, fuck my net worth. And it just, like, it automatically boosts your whole team. The other reason I like playing support is sometimes I just really don't feel like having all the pressure of the game being on me. Like, legitimately, I'll be like, all right, I'd rather just, say, take the wheel, Jesus, and, I'll be one of your disciples for this game. No, not really. I don't know. Sometimes I just, like, I don't really want to be that stressed out about having to fucking focus on last hitting and carrying the game that way. I'd rather be able to just run around and make other people's games hard and then hope that my team takes advantage of that.
I don't play support, so yeah, cool story, bro. I'm just kidding. Well, I'm not kidding. I actually don't play that much support. I only play nature's support, and that's not even supporting, to be honest. Thoughts on Jungle Enigma at 3K bracket? I'd be very careful about giving your rings to a 3K player. They're not going to give them back, and I think that's one of the big reasons that Enigma is really good. But I mean, I still think it's fine because the hero pressures the map and he farms really quickly and he carries the game. So yeah, I mean, I think Enigma. I think Enigma should be perfectly fine.
I bet it's really good.
Yeah, it sounds good. It sounds really good.
I bet it's gonna be really good just because nobody's gonna pressure you. Like,
yeah,
there's very, very little chance that you don't have enough time to come online, and suddenly then you have 4 cores and you.
Right. The amount of times too that I've seen, like, Francis play Enigma or something, and he's just taking all the towers on the map while his team is dying.
Yep.
And then they just win the late game because he's taken so many towers with the Eidolons and the Dawn creeps. Like, he doesn't even fight. He just split pushes. I watched an entire game where he didn't even get off one black hole with Enigma, and they won because he just split pushed with it. And people can't deal with that. People cannot deal with that in pubs.
Yep.
So it's good as long as you're not just farming jungle the whole game. Like, the one mistake you can make, is to farm jungle instead of lanes past the laning stage.
Yep.
If you're not making that mistake, then you're going to win. But if you go jungle on anything, you're going to fucking lose. Like, you just don't contribute at all by jungling.
Yep.
Past the laning stage. So as long as you're shoving lanes, you're gonna have a super high chance of winning. I mean, I think that's true. I think that's true in general.
All right, let's take this as the last question by Ali Black Ghost. Says, hi, how to counter early game pushing lineups and what to pick against them. I'm playing in 4K and there's a lot of Smurfs here spamming Lycan and telling their team to pick Nature's Prophet or something like that. First of all, I'm sure that there are some Smurfs. I don't think there are that many Smurfs. However, it can feel like the game is very hard if you're against an early game, but you don't.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of ways. Like, a lot of the time you want to have somebody on your team that has some outpush, and you can do that. So, like, Grimstroke, Keeper of the Light, Lena, and just have them, like, clear the wave. Winter Wyvern's also really good. It depends on your role. I would say a really good way to deal with it too is just you just say, okay, you want to push on me, I'll push on you. Pick Leshrac, pick Pugna, and just run at their tower, split push them while they push you, and then you just get towers, they get towers, and then you just play like a regular late game. The problem is when you're playing against a pushing lineup and you don't get any objectives. That's when you have an issue, because objectives don't really matter if you're trading. If you're trading their objectives for your objectives, you're perfectly fine with that. When in most games you just lose to that. And fighting into it a lot of the time is a mistake right now, I would say.
That was the last thing that I wanted to add, was that, like, the biggest mistake that people make against early game heavy lineups is that they play, like, they try to defend all of their towers. I think that if you have a fairly late game oriented lineup and you're playing against an early game lineup, you should literally think of your tier 1s and tier 2s as just sort of a buffer zone to the other team ending the game.
Yeah.
And you can just concede that very, very easily. Like, just concede your tier 1s, concede your tier 2s. The only time you really need to be worried is when they're actually going high ground. And chances are they're going to try to go high ground way too early because they had a good early game, and they're going to go high ground, maybe with no Aegis, maybe without BKBs, maybe without the ability to actually kill your heroes that are sitting high ground and defending. And so they're just going to go ahead and feed away a whole bunch of comeback gold to you because they got way ahead too early, and then they pushed their advantage too early without being able to do anything. You have to hold high ground pretty much. And the rest of the time, you should just be taking advantage of the fact that they're probably all running down together and get more farm.
Yep. A lot of the time, you lose a lot of gold and XP on the map by just grouping up and running at tower. So split pushing is like a hard counter to it.
Yep. All right. You want to take any other questions?
I think we're good for now. I think we can end it out there and make the episode nice and short, nice and compact.
Cool. All right. Hey, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been Alchemy Answers, episode 28.
Replay review coming this Thursday, same time as this, 9 p.m. Eastern. Get your replays into the Patreon supporters, patreon.com/Dota Alchemy.
Yep. And we'll review them live on stream, and you guys can watch if you're not a Patreon supporter, of course. Learn some stuff from people in your MMR bracket, maybe a little bit lower than you, maybe a little bit higher, who knows. We'll see what kind of replays we get. But as always, thank you for your support. Thanks for tuning in. And be sure to check out Jenkins streaming. He's streaming almost every single day. I think I'm probably going to start streaming a little bit, but sometimes it just makes me play way worse and I don't have fun. So we'll see. But definitely watch Jenkins because he's pretty good at the game. Whoops. I ended the call with Jenkins instead of ending